What's the reason that you guys wanted to make this video?
We wanted to make a video that spoke to other nursing students who may have struggled in the program, who didn't finish when they wanted to, or who had some setbacks and maybe had to take some courses again. We just kind of wanted to point out that there are a lot of resources or people that they could talk to, and just so they didn't feel alone.
So what kind of struggles do you want others to be aware of, and what are the kind of issues that people can run into in this program?
There's a lot of barriers that people can run into while in the program. Some of them could be like failing a class, mental illness, physical illness, feeling pressured by peers or their parents to do very well in the program. There's just there's so many barriers that can come into play.
So is this something that you guys went through personally?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to make a video to kind of share a little bit of our story, and so people could maybe relate to us and maybe feel empowered.
One thing that I've always struggled with was studying. So for me, the thing that helped was getting back to basics. If you don't understand how something basically works, then it's really hard to build upon it in future years. So that's one thing I did that helped. Also focusing on one textbook. The MedSurg book, it's a massive book. No one wants to carry that around and read it all the time, but we have to. So just find the textbook that works best for you, whether it's laid out in complicated terms or in the most simple terms. Just whatever works for you, use that and stick to it. Don't try to read through every single textbook every night, else you won't have time to do that and you'll go crazy. Also, just know that your professors are here to help you. They have office hours. They're always an email away if you need help. So just email them, let them know that you're struggling, be real, and get the help that you need before it's too late.
So some of the issues that I had with studying was that I just wasn't doing it properly. I would find myself just studying for 3 hours at a time and just reading my textbooks or as much as I could, but it didn't necessarily mean that I was retaining anything, and I would get my quizzes and my tests back, and I wasn't getting the marks that I wanted. So what I did was I switched up my learning. I started to draw out pictures and tried to tap into a more creative way to learn, and I found that I was more successful when I was using visual aids. And another thing that really helped me out was being in a study group. So when you're in a study group, you kind of bounce ideas back off one another, and you're teaching in the process as well. Also, you're kind of reiterating ideas, and I found that more effective than just reading through my textbooks.
One of the things that I struggled with most in clinical was my anxiety. So to overcome that, I did a few things. The most important thing I did was go into the lab to practice my skills, because I felt that if I could practice in a lab setting, then I would become more confident when I actually did the skill in the clinical setting. I also watched a lot of library videos that go through how to do nursing skills, and that helped me a lot. And reviewing the policy and procedures on the internet, that helped a lot before doing the actual procedure, because I was familiar with what I had to do and was more prepared. I also seeked out opportunities to challenge myself, because I feel like anxiety can hold a person back a lot and keep them from doing things. So I challenge myself in the clinical environment, talking to doctors, being more assertive with staff, or taking on challenging patients. That'll help me to become successful in that environment.
So my issue with clinical was I just had a huge lack of confidence. So what I did was I just tried to use the resources around me. I would ask other nurses what their routine was and how they set up their day, and I would pick and choose different parts of each so I could kind of formulate my own way of organizing my day, and found out what worked for me. I was also very honest about what my strengths and my weaknesses were, and I made sure that I articulated it to my primary nurse or my instructor and my peers, because I don't think that it was safe to fake it till you make it. And yeah, the more honest I was with myself, then I found that I was more successful in the long run.
I came into the nursing program with a lot of baggage that I kept holding on to and I didn't want to let go of. Some of that was some mental health issues, grief. I was working too much, not getting enough sleep, and I didn't have much confidence in myself and my ability to do well in the program also. While the year that I took off was good for me, it could have been avoided if I listened to the supports in my life who kind of warned me that if I kept doing what I was doing, then eventually I would crash. And that's exactly what happened last year. I also was afraid of being behind in school because for me, I thought I'd be judged and that people would look at me differently and that I would think of myself differently for being behind. And I thought if I took a year off, I wouldn't come back. Like, I wouldn't be able to get through the program. Like, I thought it was the end for me. So things that I did during my year off were taking care of myself. Like, I made a success list of everything I did. And so whenever I get in that mood where I feel like, oh, okay, like, you're not good enough, then I can look back at that list and just reflect on all the things that I did and how far I've come. I love art, mainly dancing and painting and drawing, so I did some of that while I was off. I also just took time for myself. Like, I wasn't constantly working. I tried to volunteer as much as I could because that's something I enjoy, is giving back to other people. Just like taking time to read, play with my rabbit, that was helpful. I love that little guy. And yeah, just looking after myself was a big thing because I've never done that before and I didn't know how to, so it was a whole new learning experience for me.
During my time off, I took the time to follow my passions. So I have a love for music. I find it really rejuvenating to be around kids, to teach kids, to play with kids, and yeah, to be surrounded by music all the time. So that's what I did, and that's what I found was the most helpful thing for me to regain my confidence. I thought it was really helpful to practice things that I was really good at, to remind myself that although I had some failures, there were some really good things about me that no one else could take away.
So knowing what you guys know now, is there anything that you would do differently? Like, how do you guys feel now?
Looking back, when I kind of realized that the way I was studying wasn't effective, I probably would have maybe tried to correct and continue things before. So I would maybe try different study strategies during my quizzes or something like that to prepare me better for my exams. Mm-hmm. And I definitely would have utilized the faculty or other peers or just other resources. I would have definitely utilized other things more than just reading. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was a little bit different. Like, looking back, I would have listened to people more that had my best interest in mind. Like, for example, like in nursing, we're always trying to care for other people, but we don't realize that we can't care for others until we care for ourselves. So that was a really big lesson for me. I did use resources on campus and I did find them helpful, but maybe before waiting for things to get really bad, I would have like access to those services earlier.
Mm-hmm. I remember when I got the news that I wasn't successful in one of my courses and I had to take a year off. I was devastated, but I'm really glad that I did take that opportunity to kind of like refocus myself and, you know, clear some other things that were in my life that weren't beneficial. And we kind of came back into nursing, and I felt it was a really great thing, and I had a different mentality. And yeah, I feel great that we're almost done. Like, we're done school in a couple of weeks, and it feels really good, and I'm glad that we did it this way.
Great. Congratulations, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.